Hey, how's it going? We've had a little update on this thing. I was all confused for a second there, which is why I'm a little bit out of shot as we start. How are we doing? We're back in the gym. I did say that I'd like to be back in my front room again for this week's yoga, but busy times. People are coming back to the gym. I've got clients coming out of my ears, which is awesome. It's nice to be busy. It's cool. And when you come to my real life physical classes, I talk about this a lot as people come in. I'm not the type of yoga teacher that wants absolute silence as you enter. I kind of enjoy the hustle and bustle of people talking, saying hi to each other, saying what they've been doing. I kind of like it. And then as the class starts, it like slowly comes down to this kind of quiet place. And I enjoy that. If you've ever been to a yoga class in a forest or in an incredible yoga studio that's in an old church that's just off the beaten track or something like that, and it's absolutely silent, something special about that. And it's cool. But I've been to some yoga classes where the yoga teacher tries to recreate this feeling of absolute zen with silence all around, no talking when you come into the class. You come in and you lie down, it's all so lovely, but it can be a bit forced if the environment you're coming in out of is all crazy. I want to see you wind down. I want to see that process of how you soften yourself down and understand how to de-escalate all this excitement of exercise and whatever it is that happened right before you start your yoga class, your yoga practice. I think it's cool to kind of embrace that a little bit. And that's not to take anything away from those yoga teachers who do cling on to this feeling of like trying to recreate such a safe, quiet space in their studio, in the place where they practice yoga and teach yoga. So that's a cool thing, and it's fantastic, and that suits so many yoga teachers' personalities so well. They should absolutely do it like that. However, I think this feeling of being able to understand what's going on and have distractions happen right next to you, outside the room, outside the window, have them happen, but you can choose how you react, and you can control how you react to these outside forces, to these extrinsic forces that are testing you, and seeing whether or not you have real, true control over your breathing and your body and your state of mind. It's powerful. I think I'm good at it. I enjoy that transition from being all like doing a yoga spinning class, getting sweaty, putting the bikes away, getting the mats out, straight away into a yoga class. And I can feel this de-escalation of my heart rate, my tension and everything. And that high heart rate, high tension, all entertaining and excitement is a good place for me. But I also like this kind of lower intensity, slowing things down, paying attention to things and seeing whether I've got control to be able to just soften a little bit. And then you've got a full hand to play with. You've got options. And I'll keep telling you, I love options. So let's look at these options right now, for where we are starting this yoga class right now. You can breathe, relax your jaw, just feel what you've got going on. Because I'm sat cross-legged, and cross-legged isn't a particularly easy position for me. I'm happy here, I'm comfortable, I don't feel like I'm clinging on super hard to stay upright, but I can tell that my hip flexors are doing a little bit of work at keeping me in this shape. It's something I can keep working on, but it's not a weak position for me. It used to be that I would have to like hold myself up because my torso wanted back. It wanted to go back here to open this angle up. It didn't like sitting in this position with my hips like all closed up like this. Now I'm reasonably happy. And then I want to see if you've got options. is to be able to just move really gently. We're not even trying to find new range, just seeing if you've got clear control to be able to do a little side bend, a little side bend, a little side bend, and a little side bend. To be able to fill your lungs right up, relax your jaw. And set your breathing to a different pace. It's like one of your muscles pulling your spine into this lateral flexion. That's it. I've got stuff going on there actually. Something just happening just above my right bum cheek. It's not painful at all. I just lose a bit of control, I can tell. I do a little judder almost. It's like my body disconnects. I'm no longer in complete control of this. The more I think about it, I can sit and pass that place. I feel something just maybe starting to pull tight. Maybe there. And it's barely anything at all. Nothing to report. I wouldn't ever be like, oh, I need to go see a sports therapist or a massage therapist or anything. It's not painful. I just feel this little disconnect. Something that we'll look at in a minute and see if we can work. If I can work out what I've got going on, maybe you can kind of use these tools to be able to work out what you've going on. Now, obviously, if you're injured, go see a professional. Don't try and just work your stuff out completely alone, because you might hurt yourself more. But if you've just got a little feeling of disconnect, like you don't quite have control, then you can absolutely just see if you can teach your body how to perform just a little bit more. So, see how I'm on my knees, my fists are right in line with my knees, and my bum is just a bit higher here. I want you to see if you can move your pelvis around into flexion and extension really slowly. My elbows stay locked. If you look at the top of my t-shirt, my upper back is staying reasonably still. Might move a little bit, but you can kind of measure that by looking at the negative space. So look where my back passes the door, or the little like glass brick window thing, and you can kind of see where is moving and where isn't. I want you to be able to see if you can just make this bit here tilt and tilt and tilt and tilt, so that the lower back gets some nice movement action without any juddering. And then let's see if you can do this in a bit of a side bend, so that you can kind of scoop your hips side to side. So imagine like your right bum cheek going towards your left heel, your left bum cheek going towards your right heel, and then just keep scooping around. You should hopefully be able to feel that in the sides of your belly. It's making me very warm, by the way. It's creating a lot of heat. And then see if you can pin yourself into one side bend, and then still make lower back moves. So I'm kind of pulling my hips towards you. I'm doing this side bend. And then I'm going to pull my hips away from you. See if I can do this little hip tilt while I'm in side bend. I'm just trying to work things out. It's not quite getting wherever I feel that little tiny disconnect. Not quite there. Cool. Then let's see if you can point your toes backwards now and sit on your heels if you're happy with your toes pointing backwards like that. If you're not, even just a little bit uncomfortable, absolutely sit all the way up like this, or you can even sit on the edge of a chair if this is a real problem area for you. And cross your arms over your chest, flip your rib cage up, pull rib cage down, flip your rib cage up, pull your rib cage down. So what I'm after here is I can feel my sit bones at the bottom of my hips pressing into my heel here, and I can make the top half of my torso flex and extend, flex and extend, and it's separate from this that we were just practicing. Look, so that's my pelvis tilting to upper back tilting. Separate skills, but they're so closely related to each other, because if you don't have one of them, you'll do the other one to be able to make that thing happen. That makes sense. Don't know if that made sense. It wasn't the best sentence I've ever done, for honest. Okay. And then let's have a little think about our shoulders. If you're happy sat on your knees like this, keep in this position. If your ankles or your knees or your hips hate it, absolutely just change, because it's not the be all and end all. I'm just comfy here, so I'm going to make my shoulders do stuff here. I want you to lock your elbows and go shoulders forwards, shoulders up, shoulders back, shoulders down, forwards, up, back, down. See if you can move slowly. Feel every movement of your shoulder blades. Keep moving slow. Try and feel what we've got going on in those shoulder blades. It might do little clicks. You might be able to feel stuff, especially in this down and back. See if you can change direction. Up, forwards, down, back. Up, forwards, down, back. Keep that elbow really straight. Missing stuff here. The shoulders are tired. They've done a fair bit of training. Feel it going in this direction. Do some little jewellery bits where I don't quite have full control, so I'm just going to keep doing this until I can teach these shoulders how to get into these shapes and stay strong. And then let's have a little look at our necks, because our necks are super important. Remember, if you're not happy sat on your feet still like this, you can absolutely change it. Pull your shoulders down, go shoulder, ear to shoulder, ear to shoulder, ear to shoulder. Move slower than me even. Really slow. You feel that stretch. It's just yours. You can understand it. You can feel it stretch, but there's no pain. Then see if you can hold it in this side bend and rotate. Your chin goes up. Chin goes to the shoulder. Chin up, chin down. Chin up, chin down. Keep breathing. And last one. Nice. And over to the side. Understand this, how your neck is doing the stuff, and then we'll get into some good old hamstring stretches, some hip stretches. That's it. Perfect. Okay. And then coming up in standing, since we've been on those feet for a fair amount of time. Alright, so if you can, let's think about ankles first, because my ankles have been sat in that position for a little while. I want to reach one foot forwards and try and pull your laces towards your shin and wave your foot at me like this. So you can see how you can see the sole of my foot. You can see how my knee isn't moving. Keep waving this foot this way. So just working into ankle dorsiflexion. So laces to shin, as you wave this foot side to side. That's it. Then see if you can point your toes, wave your foot side to side. And see if you can connect the dots between the two. Big circle, no juddering. Big circle, no juddering. That's it. Change direction. Cool. Right. Then swap legs. Pull those toes back. Wave that foot side to side. So try and understand this. Try and get, come on, balance. Quiet. Try and get laces to shins. You feel maybe like a little stretch down your calf. Try and get your sole of your foot to point forwards. That's it. And point your toes, wave side to side. And then see if you can connect the dots between those two movements. You do a big circle around like this. No juddering, so you own every single millimetre of this. Good. That is it. Okay, then look at our hamstrings. This is my favourite way just now to think about my hamstrings. This is me kind of prepping them ready for work, ready to do stretching or strength stuff, whatever. So I want you to just do one foot in front of the other, stand on the train track so that your feet are wide enough, pull your feet towards each other a little bit, so you try and drag this front foot backwards. And then I want your bum to travel back so that your back knee bends a little bit and you drag this knee back almost like you're trying to pull your mat towards you like that. But you don't let it actually shift like I just did. Pulling back, pulling hips back and trying to sit as low as you can. Keep your back flat and you should be able to find this hamstring stretch here. Then can you drive this hip forwards and then drop. Drive this hip forwards and then drop. Come on, balance. This is tiring for me on this standing leg. A little bend in this knee. It's back, it's forwards. It's back, it's forwards. Couple more. Last one. Yes. Then swap legs. So you've got one foot in front of the other, little bend in both knees. Pull this front foot back like you're trying to drag back. Your hips go over the top of both feet, and then your bum has to travel back. And your chest stays up. And you try and drag this, and you pull this forwards and back. High rock. It's forwards and back like this. Keep moving and see if you can really tune in to how this hamstring feels as your hips go back, as your hips come forwards. And this thinking about how I can go from stretch to contraction just makes my performance better. That's what we're doing this for. We want to be able to perform better. Learning how to go into yoga poses for yoga poses is lovely and good for your body as well, mind you. I want you to be able to perform in life. This is what I want this for, that you can feel how your hamstrings can stretch out from the orientation of your pelvis. That's it. Okay. And then, I don't normally do this stretch actually, but let's get into this one. So I want your heels kind of touching. Spread your toes. And I want you to try and turn your feet out. They're not going anywhere. They're glued to the floor. Look, if I face you, glued to the floor where they are. I'm going to try and turn them out. And watch my knees when I do that. I'll just let them come together. I'm trying to pull my hips into external rotation. So this is external rotation, this is internal to external. That's what I'm trying to do with my hips. And then I want you to see if you can do the same thing where you make your hips travel backwards. So you tense muscles in your bum, tense muscles in your belly, hips go back. A little bend in both knees, hips go back, hips go back, hips go back. And then we've got this true hamstring stretch here. Breathe. So you can move your hips side to side. Can you feel it differently? Remember, I like this separating out lower back from your posterior chain, so there's a clear distinction that you're not just trying to touch toes, which is fine. That stretch is the same here. This muscle hasn't got any more stretching for me doing that. So if I take that away, I can just tune in on what's going on here and not this external cue of something so far away from how this is performing. Keep breathing, dropping belly button down. Look how my hips, my bum is behind my heels. If you're like this, it might be a little bit harder to find that stretch. And I'm trying to flip this bottom rib up. Maybe you can put your fingers on your bottom rib and pull it up like this. Then I want you to put your hands behind your legs, behind your calves. And I want you to try and stand up, but your hands are holding you down. So keep trying to stand up, and you should be able to feel like you're pulling with these muscles and they get tighter as you try and lift your chest and put your hands on your calves and keep trying to lift. Keep trying to lift, keep trying to lift. 3, 2, 1, and then you can
can soften down, and maybe you can reach for the floor, either hands on shins like this, hands on feet, hands on the floor with fingertips, or palms on the floor. Any of these is absolutely allowed. I want you to just explore this very end range by moving your hips side to side. That's it. And then coming down onto all fours. I want you to walk your knees back like this. Push your heels together. So see how you're a little bit open. If your wrists don't like doing this, then you can drop the elbows down, but you need to walk your feet back a little bit further. I want to see your knees look behind the hips. So if I do a straight line down from this hip crease, it's clearly in front of my knee. Alright. Then I want you to see if you can only move lower back in this position. And it should hopefully feel like you're using the muscles of your belly, and the more you tilt your hips, and purely just your pelvis, just this pelvis tilt into the lumbar spine, the more you're using the muscles of your lower belly. This is the thing that's going to make the muscles of your lower belly really understand how your hips tilt. Make this harder by leaning further forwards, look, so I can just drop my bum close to the floor and still only moving muscles of my lower belly to be able to move just lumbar spine. Remember, no pain, and it gets even harder again if I tuck my toes and lift my knees. It's just this pelvic tilt, feeling what it feels like to make the muscles of my belly control the muscles around my lower back and control my spine. It's exhausting, by the way, so I can't do that many of them. I'm good at it, but only for so long, and then I've got to make it a little bit easier again, be able to really feel how this works. The more I do this, the better the movement gets, but the more tired I get. So I'm getting a lot of lactic acid in the muscles of my belly now. That's one. There we go. Let's get into more hamstring stuff actually. Let's really focus on how these muscles down the back of our legs work. And spin round into lying on your back. Like this. Drop one foot and clasp your hands around the back of your hamstring and pull your thigh towards your belly. You straighten this leg up and bring it down. What I'm after is a straight knee look. See how this is kind of straight. I'm keeping my thighs close to my belly as I can. So I'm getting this hamstring stretch, but I'm doing it from the strength of these muscles here. Heel down, heel up, heel down, heel up. Move slow. See if you can get this to happen while you pull laces to shin. Laces to shin. Laces to shin, that's it. Keep this going. So tiring. And one more. Yes. Perfect. Then swap legs. Hands around your hamstring. Pull that thigh into your belly. Try and straighten this leg. Straighten this leg. Straighten this leg. And you should feel this down the front of your thigh, like these muscles are working. See if you can pull your laces to your shin while you do this. Breathe. That's it. Let's go, Paul. Yes. Let's get into hip stretch while we're lying down as well then. So, if you have your knees bent like this, then pick up your right leg and put your ankle onto your thigh. If you push this knee away from you this way, you might be able to feel this little stretch down the outside of your hip. Make sure that your pelvis isn't kind of scooping out of the way like this. If I lift this left bum cheek, I lose connection to the stretch completely. If I try and make my hips nice and even, push this knee away from me, you can really feel the outside of this right hip. Then pick your hands up. Your right hand goes under your calf, this calf here that's across here, the only calf you can reach for now, and then pick up this standing leg and then see if you can grab hold of this heel and pull it in towards you. Maybe this hand, you see my fingers poke out, you can grab hold of this knee, and then this hand can grab hold of this knee as well. And I've got hold of this and I can feel this stretch down the outside of my hip. Or if you cannot reach that, if you're still struggling and scrambling for that, you can grab hold of hamstring like this. Or you can just hold on to this ankle, unhook this hand and have it on top of your shin and just pull it in like this. And that's totally allowed as well. So stick with this. Maybe even push this knee away from you a little bit. Play around with it. So play around with this hand position. I quite like having my hand under the calf here, so you can see how my fingers are poking out here. Quite like that, but I quite often unhook that and then I play around by pushing this around and I explore it. Okay. And then like always, there's got to be some work involved. With everything that we do, I want a neuromuscular connection to every new range that we find. I want you to push your ankle into your thigh as hard as you can and load it up. Just keep pushing this ankle into your thigh. So this hip flexor's working hard. You can help with your hand here if you need to keep it. I'm trying to load up the muscles on the outside of the hip in this position. Going 3, 2, 1, and then I grab hold of this shin, drop this foot down. I'm going to pull this shin towards my face. Keep pulling. I'm not going to let my hips curl up to get it any closer. I'm just after this external rotation of this hip. Pick it up. Now I'm going to take 2 fingers, put it against your ankle, and pull this ankle towards your chin. Keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling. Going 3, 2, 1. Soften that down. Oh, it's exhausting. Okay, other foot. This ankle comes onto your thigh. Then left hand comes under your calf. Pick up this foot. Then you grab hold of this knee. And remember, this isn't the be all and end all. This position, you can unhook this after a while and push this knee away with this hand. I want you to explore feeling this stretch of the outside of your hip. Just hang out in a passive stretch for a fair amount of time. That's it. Keep holding. Keep breathing, shoulders down away from ears. Keep owning this shape. Breathe. Okay, let's get into the hard work of this now. So you need to load this up. You push your ankle into your thigh, and your thigh pushes into your ankle. And you're fighting against this. You try to fight out of it using this. Your hip flexors on the other leg are working hard, but you're trying to make this stretching tissue contract. Keep holding, keep holding. 3, 2, 1. Drop this foot down. Keep this ankle where it is. And then you put 2 fingers against your ankle, and you try and earn as much of this as you can. Keep getting that external rotation, going 3, 2, 1. Then pull your knees into your chest. Just rock side to side. Okay. Let's go into a little glute bridge, shall we? So I want to see if you can understand what shape your spine is in as you use the posterior chain, hamstrings and bum muscles. So if you push your feet into the floor and lift your bum like this, and try and imagine dragging your feet towards each other. Keep holding this here, keep lifting your hips higher and higher. Squeezing bum cheeks on. You should be able to feel these muscles on. If you give a little poke, feel bum muscles, feel hamstrings on. Hold this here. 3, 2, 1. Dropping down. And then just reposition this. So I want you to understand where your pelvis goes now. So if I just pull this up, look. I want to bridge underneath your lower back. Can you pull lower back into the floor? Lift it up. Pull lower back into the floor. Lift it up. So you're making your pelvis tilt like this, look. You can kind of see pulling muscle of my belly tight here, then lengthening them out. Pull muscle of my belly tight here, and then lengthening them out. Just keep this going. So this is the same as what we did when we were on all fours. We did cat-cow kind of, just with lower back. Keep it going.
Nice one. Perfect. Then rolling up into seated. Let's go for wide legs like this. So this is my weakest link for sure. Never, probably ever going to be able to get belly to floor. It doesn't happen even if I grab hold of my feet. Look, I've got to bend my knees to get there. Oh, that's about my best that I've got, but I need help to get there. So let's have a little think about this. If you put your hands behind you, shuffle those feet a little bit wider, and then I'm going to lift this bottom rib. So I'm using my hands behind me to lift the bottom rib. You can feel this stretch here in my groin. I'm just going to breathe, pull myself forwards, shoulders down away from ears, just own this here. I've got to spend time in our passive stretches, remember. If you want your body to adapt, if you want to change things, you need to spend time in some shapes that your body learns from. You get a little bit more, a little bit of information, a little bit of feedback from your body about how to control this stuff. If you just go into stuff passively for a few seconds, chances of it sticking are few and far between. Okay. Keep breathing, keep hinging, keep breathing, keep hinging. Then I want you to take your hands and try and open your legs out more, but your legs are going to fight back against it. You're going to feel the muscles of your groin contract. So your legs are trying to close up like this, your hands are trying to open up like this. And keep fighting this. Holding, keep holding, keep holding. Exhausting. 3, 2, 1. Then hands on the outside of your knees. And then you try and open your legs out more as your hands try and close. I'm going to push. I'm going to feel this right in the outside of your hips here. Fight it. Keep that bottom rib flipped up. 3, 2, 1. And then let's see if we can get any further into this passive stretch. And I feel better. I don't know if you can tell, I have got a little bit further. I've got hold of these feet a little bit easier. Get a little bit more hamstrings involved here as well. Shoulders down, breathe. Let's just hang out here. See if you can get into this. Feel how, if you can tense the muscles in your belly a little bit. See if they can understand this. Hinge this way with the legs out wide. 3, 2, 1, sitting up. Coming into cross-legged. Cross-legged feels miles easier than it did at the beginning of the class. I feel like I can actually fully relax here now without my hip flexors holding me up a little bit. Stuff changes you, but you need to do it frequently enough to elicit a change. Frequency wins over volume every time. So if we did a whole hour just stretching and contracting, stretching and contracting hip flexors, strong chance for hip flexors would be sore for 3 days and you wouldn't use them to their full capacity. Long term, you wouldn't learn very much from doing that once a week. However, if you did just a little bit of persuasion for 10 minutes twice a day, 5 minutes twice a day, a minute 3-4 times a day, your body's going to start adapting to that. There's got to be some effort, there's got to be some input, there's got to be some strength, some mind to muscle connection, but that is what makes us just get a little bit more out of these stretches. Okay. So you just bring hands together, thumbs to forehead, tuck your chin, roll forwards. Namaste. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you very much. Maybe we might be back in the comfort of my front room by next week. We'll see. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you all very soon. Bye, everyone. Bye.